After the leaks began, when Donald Trump testified behind closed doors on the Hill, CNN was promoting a major scoop.
The breaking news this morning, we have to report a CNN exclusive in the Russia investigation.
Donald Trump, his son Donald Trump Jr., and others in the Trump organization, they received an email in September 2016 offering a decryption key and website address for hacked WikiLeaks documents.
But that, as CNN had to acknowledge, turned out to be wrong. The unsolicited email to Don Jr. actually came 10 days later. So, rather than offering secret access to undisclosed information, it simply pointed the campaign to hack messages that had already been made public. Joining us now to analyze the coverage.
And then CNN apologized just a little while ago. They apologized. Oh, thank you, CNN. Thank you so much. You should have been apologizing for the last 2 years.
That was the president the other night. Joining us now to analyze the coverage, Molly Hemingway, senior editor at The Federalist. Jessica Tarlov, senior director at Bustle.com. And Mara Liasson, White House correspondent for NPR, all our Fox News contributors. Molly, how serious was this blunder by CNN about the president's son?
Well, it's hard to underestimate, or overstate, I should say, how much they were hyping this story. This was the first evidence of smoking gun, of actual collusion between Trump and Russia to steal the election. And so that was how the news played out, and a lot of people sort of fell for it. Turned out that it was, like so many other stories that we've gotten on this narrative, a complete nothing burger. I mean, the email was from some random person who was sharing publicly available information. This is the pattern for so many of these stories. I mean, this is not the first time it's happened to CNN. It's not even the first time it happened this week that a major story blew up like this. That at some point you actually have to start asking, maybe the real scandal is how the media fell for this Russia-Trump collusion narrative and how they've been involved in perpetuating it.
Well, MSNBC and CBS also picked up the story saying they had confirmed it. But on this question of, there's been this run of media mistakes. ABC's Brian Ross last week, as Molly points out. Earlier, CNN had to retract and fire employees over Anthony Scaramucci's story. And the president saying fake news CNN made a vicious and purposeful mistake. I'm not saying it's purposeful, but it's not looking good for the news business in terms of these Trump stories.
No, it absolutely isn't, and I think this is why there are a lot of people on both sides of the aisle who are saying actually maybe there wasn't a Russia-Trump collusion story in the first place. I mean, there are certainly things that raise eyebrows. We've seen a number of indictments. Obviously, the Mueller investigation is finding things, and characters like Paul Manafort and Carter Page are never going to win Citizen of the Year.
Mike Flynn.
And Mike Flynn, absolutely. But I do think it is... it's difficult, and we did it also at Fox. We had one with the forgery on the Roy Moore story, which we'll get to later.
Talk about that later, yeah.
But I do think it's tough, and it just feeds Donald Trump, absolutely, and he can make that case. And
gives him plenty of ammunition. And Mara, CNN says reporter Manu Raju, who we just saw, won't be disciplined because the sources, multiple sources who told him about this email, got it wrong. But he thought it was solid enough to air, and CNN obviously hadn't seen the email. So does that get him off the hook?
Well, what he said in the clip you played was in September. But CNN also had put on its website September 4th when it actually was September 14th.
Right.
Maybe that was a typo, but there's a big difference because at one point it wasn't public, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't. But I think that if the pressure is to come up with scoops, especially scoops that are going to show that Donald Trump colluded, smoking gun scoops, you're going to be held to a very high bar because the President of the United States has a explicit strategy to delegitimize the media and say that everything's fake and this investigation is fake. So yes, every time the media screws up, it's really bad.